Hungry for...
Well, bless it,
Now
my
look
son.
at that. If it isn't my new friend. What brings you here? Have you also been granted an audience by the most pleasant living person in the civilized world? Well, certainly not the fabled king of old Aranath. But yes, after 3 days of keeping me waiting, the great DeLorean has finally deigned to see me. I suppose I should feel honored. What brings you here? More errands? Oh, really? Fill me in. Wait a second. What? I see.
Well, bless it, my sir. Well, bless it, my sir.
What?
You miserable, two-faced bastard! Don't you have any respect?
I could ask you the same thing.
I just had a talk with your esteemed protector over here. Have I heard correctly that you seriously believe we have something to do with the ambush on your caravan?
We will talk about this later. And no, my Dame Onalis. What I believe is that there have been a series of peculiar coincidences, which we are investigating. No more, no less.
Peculiar coincidences. I see. As peculiar as the fact that you coincidentally forgot to inform us that the Scarabaeus has been stolen by a bunch of bandits?
Leave. Now.
The Blue Islands Coalition will learn of this accusation. Be sure of that.
One word. Why? A mistake. Listen to me. You have free will, and I respect that. But if you want to continue working for the Sickle, you will promise me here and now that something like this will never happen again. Else we part ways, understood? I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to think the next time you're about to do something as foolish as that. But I forgive you. Now, give me the ingredients for the poison, and we'll give them to the apothecarius at once. How does the saying go? Those who've lost the path shout the loudest. If there were nothing to our assumptions, she would have stayed calm. But still, we need to know for certain. The question is when. I assume Onalis will contact them by letter. But even if she hires a myriad courier to carry it, it will be days until the Kalayans get it. Until then, we won't know for sure. Here's your pay. You will hear from me once there's news.
Work, work, work.
Now get lost before I lose it!
The knife. Hey, I know you. Run errands for the keepers, don't you? Is it true what they said about that Magister? That he killed 30 novices? I just can't believe it.
You just don't get any.
Now where did I...
Hey! You're an adventurer, aren't you?
In my bed, so...
My sir.
Move along.
You're not one of the Rhalata's mercenaries, are you? Word has it
Take your
that's
time.
right. Give him a white berth if I were you. Bloody rats. Eating the last penny right out your pocket.
Move along.
A real pretty thing you are. We should spend some time together.
Thank you, Sunchild.
Now
You saved
there's
a
a
lot of
treat for
lives
the
today.
eye. What do you say, darling? Want to spend some time together?
My sir.
Keep walking.
From the upper city, huh? You got guts walking around with all that stuff down here.
What do you want? Thought so. Well then.
Mesdames and messieurs, a cordial welcome to the Dust Pit. You know who I am, I know who you are, and above all, I know why you are here today. Because you want to see a fight! 4 battles, 4 victories. But can the Wanderer also oppose the beast that's been soaking this soil in blood for decades? We shall see. Unleash the beast!
Let's see you dance.
wanderer. Look out! Die! You could do better than that. Any last words? Do better than that. Good. That's enough. Let's talk.
Fair enough. This is better. Forgive me my dramatic entrance. I was just about to explain. I'm Naris, voice of the Father. I've been watching you for a while now because I'm looking for someone with your set of skills. And, our little encounter down in the pit erased the last doubts I had about you. That accent. You're an outlander, aren't you? Shit. Does that mean I have to explain who the Rhalata is to you? Right. The Rhalata is more than a bunch of criminals, though. But we'll get there. regarding your original question, the voices are the military arm of the Rhalata. I'm sure you've seen some of us before. We come into play when a matter needs a strong hand to resolve itself. Indeed. Let me get straight to the point. I want to hire you for a mission. Well, actually, it's simple. I want your help in killing someone. The father. Their leader, not mine. When I was 6 years old, the Rhalata abducted me and a dozen other children. That is, they bought us. Shagun, the old cunt who owned our orphanage, she sold us like cattle. Us, and over the years, at least a dozen more. And we all came from the same orphanage. The refuge. And no, I have no idea what they did to us. I remember nothing. Yes. Why? Well, probably because the father shoved an ingot of gold up her ass for every child she sold. But the flesh maggots got her a while ago, so she took her reasons to the grave with her. That's the big question, isn't it? At first I thought it was about child trafficking. You know, tender little knaves and girls for rich bastards. Ark's bigwigs. Yet now I've come to the conclusion that it must have been about science. Experiments. Only the father. As I said, I'm pretty sure you have the wrong idea about them. The Rhalata doesn't see itself as a guild of murderers, but as a faith, a sect, a cult, in other words. The blackmailing, the shadow tax, is how they finance the little community. That the physical body is the worst thing that ever happened to man. It's a hole that needs to transcend. But we digress. If we're to work together, you'll soon have some rogue cultists telling you all this shit anyway. Kind of. After the father was done with us, he simply disposed of our corpses. This is also the first memory I have of that time after the abduction. Waking up in a pile of dead bodies. I don't know exactly, but I must have been somewhere between 12 to 14 years old. Still half a child, in other words. As you can imagine, I was a mess for the first few moons after that. Once I was able to think somewhat straight again, I looked for help in the upper city. Of course, the guards didn't believe a word of what I said and sent me right back down into the caverns. No. And frankly, it doesn't surprise me. I'm sure hundreds of ragged kids from the Undercity had come to them before, telling them horror stories about how much they suffered down there only to get a bed and some food. Also, as you may have figured out by now, the Order doesn't have any power down here. The Rhalata controls the caves, and that's how it will stay. Many things are horrible. Still they happen. Correct. And let's put it this way. I came to realize that no matter how much I cursed and cried, nobody would come to my help. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I told myself how to survive, and how to fight. And years later, I entered the dust pit for the first time. One of the voices saw how well I could fight, and offered me to study the Rhalats. Their codex, their holy scripture, written by the father himself. I shaved my head and became a scion, the lowest rank. 8 years ago. The father doesn't bother with most Rhalame, especially not with the scions. Also, when they discarded me, I was still a child. Now, I'm a man. Revenge. Yes. I want this monster to pay for what he did to me and the others. And I want to make sure that it will never hurt anyone again. Ever. One of the core beliefs of the Rhalata concerns the Day of Transcendence. It's the day when every Relame who's ever proven him or herself worthy leaves their body to continue existing as an immortal, immaterial being. And they also believe that this day is imminent, since the Father found a way to achieve transcendence for himself and for his lambs. In the weeks to come, they will set out an expedition to the Frostcliff Mountains. Since this expedition will be an extremely dangerous undertaking, he will bring along almost a dozen of the best mercenaries available. You will be one of them, and together, we will kill the Father. I'm telling you this because I need someone who knows how to kill. Better than the usual cutthroat you find down here. And you seem to be that someone. Also... never mind. As I said, you can fight. That's enough. By doing something that impresses him. As you can imagine, the Rhalata already has its stock of sellswords they rely on. But if we do something that impresses the Father or the First Seer, it might be enough to convince him to hire you. Look, I know how shaky it sounds, but it's our best bet. So, are you with me or not? Absolutely. Meet me at the Wailing Tree, 2 hours from now. Here. This'll help you get back to the Undercity in case you need to return to the surface before our meeting. Stay safe.
Move along.
Primo dead. Sorry.
Pity. He was a good man. Move along.
My sir.
What do you want? Oh, look at that! A sunchild graces me. Oh, from everywhere and nowhere. Whoever sets foot in my store was never here, and whoever buys from me has never existed. Do you hear me, sunchild? Oh, all things lost and found again. Depends on what you're looking for. Oh, all things lost and found again. Depends on what you're looking for.
My sir.
my sir. That's a penny right out your pocket.
A penny, my sir. Please, just one penny.
My sir.
There you are. Ready? Tree. Oh, yeah, sure. The people down here call it the Weeping Tree. They believe that the Black Guardian, once a year, fulfills one of the wishes they write onto these notes. Superstitious nonsense, of course. They might as well send their wishes to the Blue Island Coalition. Maybe. Ready to set out?
Oh shit.
What do you think? Because we don't want to draw any attention. If somebody sees me walking around with you, it won't be the end of the world, but I don't want to cause unnecessary problems. First, a question. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Blind Daughters? The massacre that took place 20 years ago. It was at the Farmer's Coast, around midsummer. The farmers had just put out the lights after a long day's work. Suddenly, shrouded figures showed up out of nowhere, with steel masks covering their faces. They broke into the houses and killed anybody who dared to stand in their way. While they merely wreaked havoc on most of the farms, any family with a daughter between 12 and 16 winters was less lucky. All in all, these masked people took 10 daughters that night and carried them away. They were found 1 week later. They lay on the Penny Road, mutilated with their eyes sewn shut. One girl each mile. They tried, but the few farm boys who were there in time stood no chance. These masked attackers were assassins, as deadly as the petrified and as brutal as lost ones. To this very day, no one knows. However, there are theories. Do the names the Black Lieber and J.L. Tannison ring a bell? The Butcher of Ark? Yes. Thing is, in this book he left behind, Tannison claims to have been part of a cult called the Black Lieber. Even nowadays there are still scholars that deny its existence, but according to Tannison, they see themselves as some kind of counterbalancing power. They make sure that malice and sin, they don't gain the upper hand in this world, and that the scales of good and evil thus stay in balance. Well, this is where it gets bizarre. Normally, the Libra only kills people who have already sinned. Tyrants, rapists, murderers, and so on. Which is also why the attack on the Farmer's Coast didn't make any sense, and still doesn't for most people today. However, the father has a theory. Well, he does have an avid interest in them. Let's put it this way. He has dug up every little bit of information that there is. But we'll come to that later. According to the father, the Black Libra chooses their sinners through the dreams of some kind of a holy child. The dreams are interpreted by the Libra's priests who extract the names and faces of evildoers from them. However, the child doesn't just see people who have already sinned. She also sees evil in its inception. Thus, the Libra might decide to kill a boy before he becomes a tyrant, or a girl before she gives birth to a murderer. I know, it sounds insane, but that's what it is. But apparently the Libra fully believes in this principle. The child is omniscient. So it would seem, though according to the father, they wouldn't have just been ordinary murderers, but emissaries of the end. Whatever that may mean. Yes. Simple. The father believes that the Black Libra knows the secret to transcendence. This is why he's been studying Tannisson's books like a madman. Especially one in particular, in which he describes the initiation ritual he underwent to become one of their assassins. And I also think that this temple in the Frostcliff Mountains is somehow related to the Libra. Long story short, apparently the pages of Tannisson's original manuscript describing the initiation ritual in detail were forcefully torn out, and the father wants to find them. Right. And I happen to know the only person who might be able to tell us their whereabouts. A man named Collian. He was also an assassin of the Libra, and Tannisson's mentor. In other words, an unscrupulous piece of shit that did nothing but murder people for decades, guilty, the innocent alike. According to the father, he was also the one who orchestrated the Night of the Blind Daughters. However, that massacre seems to have been too much even for his rotten conscience to bear, because he left the Libra shortly thereafter. He took on a new identity. He's been living as a beggar in the Undercity ever since. I saw him once. It's no wonder that nobody knows what kind of monster he is. He's gone completely insane. Drinks away every penny he gets his hands on. I have my sources. Let's leave it at that. Maybe, yes. Exactly. If we bring them to the First Seer and I tell him how I couldn't have done it without you, he might consider hiring you for the expedition. That's the plan. Not the best one, certainly, but, all we're getting. Then we'll need to improvise. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that. He currently lives in the communes. That is, if he isn't in some whore's bed in the Silver Cloud right now or getting hammered in the False Dark. I'll let you do the talking. It's unlikely that the First Seer will find out, but the more you actually help me on this mission, the more convincing our little story will be. One more thing. Don't go easy on that scum. He might seem harmless now, but remember what he's done. And remember that those 10 mutilated girls on the Penny Road are just one more page in this man's book of sins.
Go away! You're scaring him!
What a surprise. Didn't think I'd ever see you again. I don't want to know. If the Rhalata acts, you don't ask questions. That's the first rule you should hammer into your head down here. In other words, it's fine. The crowd was a bit disappointed, but technically, you won. Though, as I'm sure you understand, I can't pay you this time.
You live and learn.
How about never? Why? Because no pit fighter, no matter how powdered and glimmer-capped Dusty is, will voluntarily fight a friend of the Rhalata. If he loses, he dies. If he wins, he dies too. Because the Father's voice will come get him. And now come on, don't give me that look. You earned a shitload of money in a very short time. Maybe you can come back in a couple of moons or so, if the dust has settled. But until then, forget about it.
He was a good man.
rats, eating the last penny right out your pocket.
Now you're quite the sight. How about a little...
Oh, hello. I haven't seen you around here. Oh, a bit of this and that. Feel free to take a look. What quest?
Well, look at that. Our friend has a visitor. Get out of here.
What?
I said, get out of here. We need 10 minutes. Afterwards, you can fuck as many men as you want.
Of course, my lord. At once.
Interesting. Never mind. Look at him. Pissed like a rat. A miracle he could even get it up. I sure as fuck don't want you to cuddle with him. And again, never forget what this man did. He may look pathetic, but that doesn't change the fact that he orchestrated the murder of 10 girls. Innocent girls.
Who are you? Nylock is tired. Nylock needs sleep. Kalian? No. Kalian is dead. You're talking to Nylock, his shadow. Why do you ask? Who are you? Oh, of course. Nylock understands. You remind him of Kalian when he still lived. So much anger in you, so much hatred. Kalian knew this feeling too well. This anger, this cold, rotten wrath. And then the dream came and showed him his calling. But he was so blind, he didn't see where the road led him. Only when those little flowers' corpses lay dead in the dust did he see what he had done, what he had become. Now Kalian has been punished. He's dead, and Nylock deserves to suffer for eternity. Regret? No, Kalian had regrets, yes, but Nylock isn't worthy of these feelings anymore. Regret is a pure feeling, as is absolution, but Nylock doesn't deserve purity. So he hates himself, hates his pathetic existence, hates himself for all the suffering his old skin brought upon the world. I told you! Because Nylok buried his old skin. The Libra doesn't care about Nylok. Why should they? He's vermin. Why? Because the decrees demanded it. And the decrees don't lie. They never did, and they never will. Aren't you listening? The decrees don't lie. Those little flowers had to die, because if they had not, something terrible would have happened. Kalian knew, Nylok still knows, but still, it broke him. All their pain, their tears, their suffering, their screams. It was too much to bear, even for him. The decrees never lie. How much? He doesn't remember. He always drinks when he has the coin for it. He sniffs, and sometimes, when the people are generous, he buys himself a night with Anna. They're the deeds of a coward, and he knows it. But the brandy, the dust, and Anna, they help him forget, help him ease the pain. Pages? Nylok doesn't know what you mean. Now please, go. Nylok is tired and needs to sleep.
All right. Let me rephrase my friend's words. You stop playing confused oracle and fucking tell us what we want to know now. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll let you live. Are we clear?
But Nylok just...
Are we clear?
Yes, sir. Nylok understands. Please forgive him. So, the pages. Yes, of course, the pages. Nylok remembers. Kalian tore them from Tannerson's book before the world could see them. How long? Years? Decades? He doesn't know. Kalian had a sense of time, Nylok doesn't. No! I told you! So why are you not listening? Kalian is dead! Don't you understand? He's dead, and Nylok buried him! Oh, no, he's sorry. Please don't hurt him. He will not raise his voice again.
Look at him. He's gone completely insane. I'm guessing all this Nylok talk is a way for his brain to cope with the guilt. He's created a new persona without all the blood on his hands. That is, unless he's lying.
What? Why? Why should Nylok lie? What? Why? Why should Nylok lie? Yes, of course. But tell me, what do you want with them? You won't be able to read them. Because they're written in the language of the Libra. Even Kalian couldn't read a single word of them. Isn't it obvious? Because something else guided Tannerson's hand when he wrote them. Nylok doesn't have a choice, does he? All right, he will do as you demand. The pages, he buried them together with his old skin. He can show you the pages. But tell him, my sir, if he shows you the pages, could you... Well, Nylok is hungry, Nylok is thirsty, and he has no more coin. But... Good. Nylok understands. And maybe you're right. You treat him like what he is. Vermin. Human waste. Come, follow. My sir, Nylok has a question.
What?
Your face.
Now there's a treat.
Are you certain that you have never met Nylok before?
How would I know? Maybe. This is the way to the tar pit. Are you sure that's where we're supposed to be going?
It's not, my sir. Nylock is vermin, but he knows when he has to obey. You can trust him.
Oh, come on. Not again.
Ahoy.
Move along.
Damn the orders. Damn you all.
Hold it right there, old man. Where do you think you're going? You're a little too old for digging.
He belongs to us. We're acting under the Father's orders.
Brother Wrath, from ashes to blood, from blood to liberation. I didn't recognize you. Forgive me.
From ashes to blood, from blood to liberation. Let us through.
Of course. Father's blessings.
Father's blessings. Keep going, scum.
Yes, of course.